Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another video. My name is Wrecked Food Farmer, and today we are talking about cashing out of crypto. How would I do it? What is my exit strategy? We will discuss that right now. So, the first thing that I want to cover is called laddering. Laddering into trades is often useful, but laddering out of trades is where the real money is saved, in my opinion. Now, I am going to use my favorite token as an example, spell token. This is going to be a real world example. This is what I have been doing. Now, when getting into trades, I often find that it's best to go big early on and ladder out on the way out. So, as you can see, if you went big any time from May this year up until October this year, you would be in an absolutely brilliant position right now, right? You would. You'd be in a brilliant position. Now, most people didn't. Most people started buying around here. You can see the volume picked up tremendously. There's only a few $1 million being traded around here versus 70 million or 150 million today. You know, it's crazy numbers. So my point of laddering is exiting a trade. Now, a few of you who have been watching my videos for a while may have noticed that my amount has slightly gone down. Now, why is that? Is it because I'm not bullish on Spell anymore? No, no way. I've still got so much invested in it, over $500,000. But let me give you an example, right? If I was to get to the point where I still had 26 million Spell, and I wanted to exit the market, right? If I wanted to sell that all in one go, that's $662,000 worth of Spell, and I would only get 651,000 worth of Ethereum, meaning that I would be losing $11,000 in slippage. Now, alright, I've got a little bit of money, but there is no way in hell I want to pay $11,000 for a transaction. No way, Jose. So what do we do? Well, let's take a zero off that and see how much I would lose. Bear in mind, to sell all of that stack, it would cost me 11,000 in slippage. More than 11,000 in slippage even. So to sell 10% of it, it would be costing me, well, you can see 66,200 versus 65. Well, let's just call that 66. 66,200 to 66. It would be costing me $200 if I was to if I was to sell 10%. So $200. Now you multiply that by 10, and by doing it in intervals, by doing it intermittently, and selling smaller amounts of it at a time, it would be costing you $2,000 in fees versus $11,000 in fees. Now, that is why I call it laddering out, because you're doing it one step at a time. Number one, it prevents the token from a massive dump. You know, if granted, if I was to sell, it probably would go down, you know, a fraction of a penny. Whereas if some people was to sell, you can see on this chart, like, okay, this might have just been a fat finger right there, who the price was at 0.258. He sold a big stack and it went to 0.254. Let's have a look. Let's see if my thesis is right. Oh yes, here we go. One person sold 42 Ethereum worth in one go. And that was most likely the reason for the small sell-off. So you have to be careful when actually selling big amounts. You should be careful anyway, especially if you still have a large amount in holdings. You know, but if you don't and you're selling your whole bag, then you might be shooting yourself in the foot a little bit. So that's why I always ladder in and out of trades. Now, that's not to say that I'm finished with Spell. I'm not. I've still got so much invested, as you can see. I'm just laddering out little bits here and there to try and you know, get my return on in my investment. You know, I do want to hold some Ethereum before Ethereum shoots off to 10 or 20,000, and yes, I think Spell is going to go up multiples higher from here. I could quite easily see it going to $10 billion market cap. That would be a 5.5x from here, wouldn't it? So, well, 500,000 USD for me with a 5.5x would be, what would that be? Times 5.5, 2.75 million. That would be very nice. So if I'm intermittently selling off little bits, I'm selling off 1 million Spell here, 25,000. If Spell goes up to 4 cents and I decide to sell another 2 million Spell at 4 cents, that would be a nice $80,000 for me there, etc., etc. I will not be massive dumping. I will be laddering out over time, and that is the way to play it, I think. Now, let's forget about that for a while. Let's go back to Abracadabra though and talk about the lending, because we've got a few options here. We have got this, we've got Abracadabra, which I believe that I will probably be using to borrow money against. Now, if I want to buy a property, it might be quite useful for me to be able to borrow against my state Spell. I don't think I will ever be dumping all of my Spell. I think it's a great project. So if I was to use this collateral, let's say I had $500,000, well, it's Spell, isn't it? So let's say I had 2 million Spell there. How much can I borrow? 50% of it. Let's say I've got 20 million there, then whatever. Put my max in. If I go max with a liquidation price at 0.164, so I'm borrowing 50% against it, I could borrow $250,000. Now that $250,000 I could then convert to Gemini USD, withdraw it to Gemini, withdraw that to my bank, and go and buy myself a house. So that is one cash out strategy. If you didn't want to sell it, you wanted to borrow against it. Now that is borrowing in DeFi. You can also borrow on somewhere like Celsius, where you can borrow cash at 1%. So if you've got 100,000 in Bitcoin and you want to borrow, I don't know, let's say 30,000 for a mortgage, you want to take a loan out for a house, then you can do something like that. You can get the deposit money for your mortgage with your crypto without selling it. So that is an option. Now, another option would be to be buying gold and silver. So this is also something that I am currently doing. I do every now and then when I make a load of money in a trade, I will quite often purchase a little bit of gold, a little bit of silver, whatever the case may be. You could purchase a kilo of gold at just a little bit over spot price, but you can also buy smaller amounts. You can buy ounces of gold. You can buy 1 ounce of gold for $1,800, and they will store it for you. It could be somewhere relatively stable to put profits. Now, I'm not saying that storing in precious metals is a better idea than crypto overall. I've got a fraction of the amount in precious metals which I do having things like crypto, but I do think it is a nice place. I think it's a hedge, and I personally find comfort having gold rather than not having it. Another option is something like jewellery, like watches, such as Rolex watches or Patek Philippe watches. They typically hold their value extremely well. You should definitely do your own research on which watches do hold their own value extremely well. Not all Rolexes do. Some of them, you buy them for 10,000, you take it out the shop, it's worth 7,000. Some Rolex watches, you pay 15,000, you take it out the shop, it's worth 30,000, 40,000. So you need to do your own research on that one. Crypto.com, you can use something like this, partnered with something like Curve. So currently I earn money on Curve. I earn money every single week. I get a few $100s a week. Now, what could I do with that? I could withdraw it and buy some more Ethereum. Sure, yeah, I could do that. Or I could partner it with my Crypto.com card. And every single week when I'm getting my fees that I've generated, or from something like Convex, when I'm getting my rewards every single week. I could withdraw them straight to my Crypto.com card, spend with the Crypto.com Visa card, and get up to 8% back as well. So I could send the money to my Crypto.com Visa card and withdraw it in cash or spend it, etc. You know how a card works. But this is an option to withdraw your money relatively easily and painlessly. I have one of these cards. I can say it's a good card, and yeah, you do get some privileges as well. If you didn't want to mess around with DeFi, you can earn on the app. So you can put in your USD coin and earn like 8% a year. It says 12%, but that's because you've that's because you've done something else. That's because you've deposited some COC token as well. So there is options like this where you can withdraw to a card. That is, it's a viable thing to do in 2021. I know when we started crypto, a lot of the OGs will remember that these things were just not available, but now they are. But talking about things like Convex and stuff and Curve, I think these projects are going to do very well during a bear market. Actually, I don't think they're going to slow down anywhere near as people are expecting, but we will see. We will see. I'd say Convex is a great option for stable coins, and I think stable coins are going to play a big part in crypto, and I think they should play a part in your cashing out strategy as well. The APRs are super high, and what's the benefit of having stable coins? Well, if the market does crash, if we do take a 30% dip or something, you want to have some dry powder here to fire off and purchase and pick up all the coins on a fire sale kind of discount. And that's kind of the perfect thing, isn't it? You're earning money with your dry powder and almost waiting like the Grim Reaper for the market to crash, and you go, oh, lovely, Ethereum 30% discount, this 25% discount, etc., and you just go and snag them all up. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think that the money is not exactly going to leave the ecosystem. There's not particularly good places to put your money right now, is there? But if you go to categories, you'll see how big the stablecoin market is now. $134 billion in stablecoins now. That's a lot of money. And a lot of that is probably going to get deployed into projects soon enough. So anyway, that's about it. That's kind of what I would do. I will be laddering in and out of my trades. If by the time that things hit these sort of numbers, I expect my position to be much smaller. If they do reach my goals, my total stack will probably be at about 50% of what it was when I made these goals. So bear that in mind. I do ladder out over time, taking out a little 2% there, taking out a little 3% there. I think it's essential because you can't just dump all your bags on one day. You're going to lose money. So this is my little strategy. My name is Wrecked Food Farmer. You should definitely join the Discord. You should go and follow me on Twitter, and you should subscribe to my YouTube channel. So leave a like if you enjoyed this. Leave a comment if you would like me to make more videos and about what topics. And thank you all very much for watching. I hope your bags keep pumping. Bye bye.